Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Decentralized Voices podcast. My name is Daria, and today I'm joined by Nathan Sexer, who works at the Ethereum Foundation and leads Devcon and Devconnect. Tune in to this episode as we dive into the Ethereum event of the decade, Devconnect in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Nathan will share behind the scenes stories, surprising insights, and help you fall in love with the Ethereum community again. Enjoy the episode and don't forget to share it with your friends. Nathan, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. Could you give a brief overview of your background and how did you join the Ethereum Foundation and how did you start leading Devconnect?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, Daria. It's a pleasure to be here. So I've joined the space in 2017, working on DeFi at first. When I joined Consensus, I was working on a DeFi project as part of the startup studio of Consensus at the time. I've also started to get involved pretty early on with the Ethereum Friends, which is an NGO behind HCC, a major Ethereum event in Europe, if not the major one in Europe. And since then, in Consensus, I've stayed about 2 years and got involved with many other projects after Consensus involving gaming, ZK, and many other projects in the ecosystem. I've been helping here and there. I've done a few mentorship at accelerators, incubators. I've been very close to many projects in the space, but also very always involved with community building in the Ethereum space. In France, but not only. I have helped other events like the DeFi Security Summit, for example. And so I got more and more involved with events and started to work at the EF as part of the Devconnect team in 2023 for Devconnect Istanbul. Started as part of the production team and then joined the I've led programming for last year's DevCon in Bangkok, Thailand, and I started to lead the team earlier this year for this edition in Argentina that we're very, very excited about.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing. And actually, my first Devconnect was in Istanbul, and I was happy to start my era of Devconnect with this event in Istanbul, and I love it so much. Thanks for organizing it and for joining the foundation. So, could you explain the difference between Devcon and Devconnect because many people still don't know what's the difference?
100%. So because you mentioned Devconnect Istanbul, I can probably start this way. Devconnect started as more of a decentralized kind of event, decentralized movement, if I can say even, because it's not only an event, it's more of a week during which the EF signals toward a place and organize a core can coordinate between many other events and organizations so that they organize their own activity and events and hackathons and meetups and all that things. So the first actually Devconnect appeared after COVID, where the EF and the event team that Skylar was leading at the time were reimagining the way that events could also exist. So we could not physically or personally, legally maybe also organize an event the scale of Devcon. They decided to take another approach, which was more decentralized. So that was the initial concept behind Devconnect, is to organize one core and events would happen all over the city. We replicated that in Istanbul, where we had a big venue in the center of Istanbul, and so we organized a core there, and we hosted more events by still external parties and EF teams, but more events as part of the main venue, and still a lot of side events would happen. We're taking this step further this year, and I would say that this year, Devconnect Argentina is a hybrid model between what Devconnect used to be and what Devcon is. As a matter of fact, it's probably the biggest event we've ever done, and Devconnect, Devcon included. We're doing much, much more than we used to, and the level of complexity and the level of addition and cool stuff that we're gonna do at the event will be unprecedented. And so, to answer maybe more precisely your question about the difference between also Devcon and Devconnect and this edition specifically, like Devcon is a big conference, 7 stages, more than 500 speakers across like 4 days, and as I mentioned, more than 7 stages, I think. This time we were like 10 stages, but we, as the EF, organize only a few events. So we have the Ethereum Day on November 17th that you should definitely attend, which is the kickoff of the week. And we have also a few other events we're very involved with, like the ETHCon event, which is the local Ethereum event that it's almost a tradition when we do Devconnect and Devcon. We work with local communities to organize these local events. This will be in Spanish, November 18th. And then, but that there will be 40 events happening in the same building that we don't necessarily organize ourselves. We help to coordinate with production, catering, AV, and all that stuff, but they're doing their own programming and they're throwing their own event. They will do their own communication around that. And that's only a small part of what we're doing. The biggest innovation this year is that we're doing the first ever Ethereum World Fair. And we are very excited to have this and to showcase all the applications of Ethereum that will be split among 8 districts like gaming, AI, DeFi, social networks, L2s, and privacy and collectibles. And so we're very excited to have also all these apps, and it will be a first, but this is something we've never done and will be very different from all the other events. But to have this showcase, like real, tangible, creative live, real world live showcases of applications that people can come and try and experiment with. And we want people to arrive, like set up their wallet, on-ramp some crypto, and buy their food as well with crypto. On top of that, we're doing activations like we have a soccer pitch, a music stage. We have many discussion corners, meeting rooms, community hubs as well. Super important part of what we do. We have 15 of them, and around many different topics like on-chain banking, also LATAM region, many other different communities and privacy as well. And anyways, this is something that you might have seen if you've been to DevCon in Bangkok, the community hubs that were super important. But as you can see again, it's a hybrid model between DevCon and Devconnect, but it's a whole new concept and a whole new event in itself that, again, the scale of it is something we've never done.
It sounds huge. And how many people are involved in organizing Devconnect this year?
So the team is about 20 people, 15 to 20 people. And we also work with many teams on the ground. Again, we're working with all the event organizers, the community hub organizers. We have some more help on the production side of things. And well, we have the support from EF. And yeah, but it's about 15 to 20 people full time, as well as a production company.
Yeah, not a big team for event of such scale. So that's probably you have
Right.
quite hot days now.
Right. Yeah, it's very busy.
What was the most unusual or unexpected thing that you did as an event organizer during these years?
I think we ourselves did not realize the scale of the event ourselves at first, right? So we came up with that idea of a World's Fair, right? For example, the Chicago's World Fair, where they showcased electricity, and I think it was AC versus DC at the time, and it helped to make people realize the impact of electricity, and like it helped actually to democratize the technology, and it helped for people to understand the scale of what it was going to be, right? And so in the same fashion, we want to use the concept of a World's Fair to showcase real world applications. We will showcase about 100 applications, and there are so many intricacies and so many different details and things when you come to try to represent an ecosystem as a whole and showcase the best applications. I know it won't be the normal projects or the usual projects that you see on the ground, also because we've put a lot of effort in involving local communities, local projects that you don't necessarily see as well, but that are bringing amazing value to the space. We're not expecting the scale of what we were going to do. The level of coordination that you required is high.
Extreme.
Extreme.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. So, how do you see regional events like Devconnect in Argentina contributing to Ethereum's broader mission, and how do they impact local regions?
So it's a great question, and we're very sensitive to that point with our team, with our events. I would say it's all even like a big, or like one of the biggest differentiator with all the other major conferences that you would see is that we're putting a lot of effort in involving local communities and having a strong local impact on the region. We can tell, even isolating our events, we can tell how many events from how many attendees from previous locations we've been to are coming to our events, right? So we've organized DevCon Bogota in 2022, and we can tell how many communities and people are telling us, my first event was DevCon Bogota, and since then they created communities, projects, raise funds, doing so many things that tells us like we had an impact. A lot of things have been created, and they're coming back stronger, either coming as volunteers or participants, or they're coming to showcase our project. And this is amazing to see, right? So the communities that we create, they're obviously a strong local economical impact. We ourselves organizing the conference, like we're renting spaces, we're working mostly with local service providers. And so there's a strong local impact, of course, on tourism with hotels, restaurants. The whole city is booked, and with like hundreds and hundreds of like side events are happening. Tens of thousands of people that coming to the city and living in the city for a few weeks, and generally also people with a generous income, especially with the countries we're targeting. And then I would say that something that we're putting a lot of efforts into is also involving government officials. We're talking to regulators, and we're inviting people um, that could have a meaningful impact in their own country. So we're also working with inviting officials from other countries to see what our event is like, and also what, especially with Argentina, it's so much like involved, or it's so much present in the daily life of everyone's, that we want to show that to the world. For example, now in Thailand, the central bank released a stablecoin, and we believe that, or at least we want to believe that, DevCon played a huge part in that role. And as a matter of fact, we invited the central bank to the event to participate, and they were here and seeing what we were doing. Again, with these events, we can show the real impact of Ethereum, and inspire attendees, of course, dev students and newcomers, but also governments and institutions to realize how Ethereum can be used in the real life, and that generally has a strong impact, and we've noticed that in the past.
Thanks for sharing. I saw this impact in Bangkok last year during DevCon. I compared it with Taylor Swift because when she comes to some regions, everyone do the same, like book hotels, buy tickets, restaurants, transportation. So all infrastructure around her concerts works to benefit local communities, and the same for Devconnect, for Devcon, because as you mentioned, so many people are coming. And probably this edition will be the biggest one. By the way, how many people do you expect to see?
So around 10,000 attendees. I think in the cities, probably more like in the city attending all side events, probably between 10 and 15,000 people. And we were around the same numbers in Bogota. A lot of people are also coming to Devconnect and just attending side events, which we don't recommend to do, obviously. You should definitely come to the main venue and attend many of the events and see all the showcase and see all the crazy cool thing we're doing.
Yeah, thank you. And now I will ask you the question that is interesting to many local communities. What's required from local communities that want to apply to host DevCon or Devconnect? Are there any specific metrics or criteria?
Interesting. So, are you interested to host in your home country?
Poland. I'm interested in general, like what should country or community have to be like eligible to host such a big event?
So we are looking at many factors, right? Looking a very having a very strong local community, of course, is a very interesting factor that we obviously look at, because usually there are strong reasons why there are these strong local communities. It's usually because they have strong universities, because they have many projects coming from this place or this country, this city. They have many developers. Well, it has a meaningful presence or impact in the region. I mean, this is the case of Istanbul or Argentina, like in Istanbul, you were landing in Istanbul and you were seeing ads of like crypto exchanges all over the airport. And so you can see that this is very present. But anyways, having a local community is interesting for many different reasons. And also because we work with local community members, having a strong local community, but regulatory environment, favorable maybe governments that could be interested or willing to have our conference. Big aspect of it will be also the accessibility, the visa. So that comes with like a government that could be interested in having our event or even interested in helping us onboarding people to the event, which is, by the way, something we've set in place for Argentina, where we're working with like immigration offices to send visas to a lot of like African countries and everyone that like every country that normally struggle to get visa abroad. We have that
Yeah.
for this year. Accessibility is a big aspect. Accessibility in terms of visa, but also geographical accessibility. We know that it's a bit far from a lot of places in Argentina this year, but despite that, people are taking flights. And I talked yesterday to from Nigeria that spent 3 days, more than 3 days on a plane doing like
Oh my
4 or
God.
5 stops just to come to Buenos Aires. And
So
we're
good.
seeing many such cases, and we're so excited to welcome them all. But anyways, those are some of the factors I haven't mentioned. One, maybe last but not least, like the venue, obviously, like
Yeah.
we need to host events in venues that can host us and that can handle the level of production and the number of attendees that we're targeting. And this plays a huge part. And obviously we're trying to rotate also the location. So we don't want to come back to a country where we've been to. Like, yes, we're coming back to South America, but the idea is to rotate and go to places we've never been. And so that in itself is also a factor we're taking into consideration. I might be forgetting a few items, but generally we're trying to have the strongest local impact as possible. And so
Yeah.
there is a lot of factors that we take into account.
Thanks for sharing. I'm really interested because, like, now I'm based in Eastern Europe. I'm Ukrainian, but I live in Poland. And I'm super interested in having DevCon or DevConnect here because Warsaw and Poland now is like a magnet for
Yeah.
everyone from Europe and from Central and Eastern Europe. So
Right.
anyway, I asked
Exactly.
just in case, how are you working to ensure diversity and inclusion? So you mentioned a bit that local government of Argentina helped you to secure visas, but maybe you can highlight a bit more things that you work on to bring this diversity and inclusion to the ecosystem.
We want everyone to be able to come from any country. So I think this is probably the biggest accessibility measure we could set up, right? Selecting a country where people can come easily, and or where that's not the case, working with like governments or public officials to make sure that they can attend our event is probably the biggest measure of them all. Because again, like we want these events to be as open as possible to everyone, and so this is very, very important. We're working again with many local communities. We want to make sure that men and women are represented. We want to make sure that a lot of countries are coming, regardless of, again, where they're coming from. We do have local focus, regional focus. So we focus on Argentina this time, but we also want to involve, and we are involving a lot of LATAM communities. Because you're talking about diversity, I mean, you will realize how much present are the women and active are the women also in Argentina. I think it struck me how much women are in position of power or leadership, and I haven't seen that in many other countries. I have to say, I'm very, very happily surprised to see that. And I don't say there doesn't need to be any proactive measures on our side, but it's amazing to be also in a country where it's happening, and you can see all these women having leadership positions in very important companies.
Thank you very much. And I have the last question to you. What one thing you're personally most excited about DevConnect, and why listeners and viewers of this episode should join DevConnect in Argentina?
I would say the first Ethereum World Fair is the thing that is the most exciting concept for an event ever, in my opinion. We're doing something extremely ambitious of an unprecedented scale. We're as excited as scared about the outcome of this potential event, but we really are excited by all the crazy great projects that we will showcase, all the crazy super active local communities that are getting involved, and all the enthusiasm around the event from local builders that are extremely proud to host our event in this also such iconic venue, which is La Rural. It's hard to tell at this stage, right? We're working very hard to make sure that it will go as smoothly and now as well as we have it in our mind. But yeah, this is something that we're very, very excited about. We're very excited about also these real world, tangible way of people interacting with Ethereum. It will be a challenge, but we're excited to see people coming in the venue, setting up a wallet, on-ramping, getting some money into their wallet and paying their food with crypto. And as we are targeting a lot of newcomers, we're very excited to see these newcomers coming into the venue, setting up a wallet and, getting on board as we see them in real life to crypto and to Ethereum.
I'm sure it would be great and amazing. And as I mentioned, maybe it would be like the event of a decade for Ethereum. We celebrated 10 years of Ethereum some time ago, so probably it would be like a huge birthday party for Ethereum community and the whole ecosystem. So thank you, Nathan, for sharing these insights. And guys, I will leave all the links under this episode so you can follow Nathan. You can check out Devconnect and see what's happening and actually buy tickets or secure spots if you haven't done this before. Thank you, Nathan, again, and see you soon.
Thank you so much, Daria. See you soon.